So next up is setTimeout. setTimeout isn't widely used with promises. I mean, you can kind of think about it like a promise, but basically it will run your code after a specified amount of time. And if you don't specify that amount of time, it'll wait until the event loop is done, and then it will run that code, which if you don't know what the event loop is, there is a great video on it. And I'm going to put it in this description. But so setTimeout is basically a way to run code after a specified period of time. It is not technically async. I'm pretty sure it's not asynchronous. Maybe it is asynchronous. I don't really know. It doesn't really matter, but we're going to be using it to simulate an asynchronous function. So basically, we're going to create a function using, where does this go? Okay, const using sto. Should print a string to the console. Console.log, and I'm just going to print 1. Okay. Check work. Great. Now let's invoke setTimeout function. So notice how it waited a little bit for it to run, and it printed this one before it printed 1. So this isn't actually waiting for anything to happen. It runs after the event loop is finished, which this runs or adds something to the event loop. So yeah, let's take a moment to predict the output of this program. Oh well. So yeah, this just waits. Great. Okay. So that doesn't really use promises. Actually, now that I think about it, setTimeout is probably asynchronous and how it works. It puts it into the, I forget what it's called, but there are, the V8 engine has separate things that it throws the asynchronous code into and the synchronous code, and it's kind of interesting how it works. So setTimeout, I'm pretty sure, is thrown into the same place that asynchronous code is. Anyway, that is completely useless. Okay. I'm going to just say we want to build a program that resolves, or that is asynchronous, that resolves after a certain amount of time. So let's call this sleep. So if you've done Python, you have a sleep function that is available to you from one of the packages. So if I say const sleep equals, this is going to be an asynchronous code. It's going to return new promise. And you don't have to create a separate function. You can just pass a function into here, res reg. And we're not even going to use reject. We're just going to resolve it. We don't even have to pass anything into there. And then we're going to pass in setTimeout resolve after milliseconds. Okay, and I'm going to make sure milliseconds is right here. So if I wanted to, I can now sleep 500, and that would create, this would return an object, a promise, const promise equals that. So if I run that, node app.js, notice how it waited for 5 seconds for it to stop. If I didn't have this, it would immediately stop. But with it, let's say 500, so you can really tell the difference. It's still going, still going, still going, so on and so forth, right? And I just cut it off. So now we're going to, that's basically how to use setTimeout as a asynchronous function. This is my favorite way to do it. And because this allows you to create a sleep function for loops and whatever, okay? Quite useful. So next we're going to learn how to consume a promise, and I will see you in that video.